Hello there and welcome back to JM YouTube for the kids. I am Mighty Oz and this is my former sidekick, Bobby Sox. Yo! I say former because Bobby, as you recall, signed a contract to go out in Hollywood and do his own thing, but he agreed to stick around for this special edition of JM YouTube for the kids. Yo! All right, so to recap, Little Dukes, JMU is 12-1 and we are champions of the Sun Belt Conference. That's old news, Oz. You're right, you're right. That's old news. But here's the latest. Hold on to your hats. Christmas has come early for us JMU fans. JMU is in the college football playoff. That's the big time. We have made it. The Mighty Dukes are heading to Oregon to play the Mighty Ducks, right? And Mighty Oz will be there in person, flying first class. No, I'll be in economy, Bobby, and you'll be in an overhead bin. First class overhead bin. All right, sure, Bobby. Kids, you may not realize this, but the University of Oregon is in the state of Oregon. Now, Oregon is a state that's known mainly for being too far away from Virginia. The biggest industrial sectors in Oregon are indie rock concerts and marijuana. All right, the game will be played in a small college town called Eugene. That's where the university is actually located. But most JMU fans are going to stay in a much bigger city, Portland, Oregon. It's less than 2 hours from Eugene. Now, you folks who are staying in Portland, I'll be in Eugene. You folks who are staying in Portland better bring your passports because from what I can tell by watching several fair and balanced to the right news outlets, Portland is no longer part of America. It's a separatist movement, a breakaway insurgency where costumed communists are running amok. Apparently, it is an anarchy. But like I say, I'm staying in Eugene, which is a stable dictatorship ruled by a benevolent duck. I want to take a second to introduce you to my good friend Tim. Back in the day, we called him Super Switz. We were at JMU together. We bonded over scholarly pursuits. Looked like a couple of drunks. That's your opinion, but anyway, we graduated, and Tim is now a good friend of the program. He's not just a subscriber. He is uh, he's all in. He's a determined yet ineffective promoter of the program. So, as a result of being at least trying to promote the program, trying to get me some more followers, Tim has won a no expenses paid trip with Mighty Oz and Bobby Sox out to Oregon. We're really looking forward to it. And as a way to commemorate this historic trip, I've been watching some of those social networks on the computer, and I noticed that some people make these inspirational hype videos, right? So I wanted to produce one of those to commemorate this, like I said, historic trip. So I went to AI and I asked AI to create a video of me and Bobby flying across the continental United States and landing like superheroes in venerable Altson Stadium. Now, I asked AI to show our nation in its most flattering light with purple mountains and fruited plains from sea to shining sea. Let's take a look, Bobby. Well, that was disappointing. It stunk. All right, it's time to take a good look at our playoff opponent, the University of Oregon Ducks. Let's eat duck meat. Well, Bobby, I like your spirit, but these Ducks are, let me tell you, they're elite. They're a perennial powerhouse. They were the #1 ranked team in the nation going into the playoffs last year. They're #5 this year. They're 12-1, and their only loss was at #1 ranked Indiana. Pluck the Ducks! That'd be great, Bobby, but let me caution you, many of these Ducks will be plucked by NFL teams. 2 or 3 of them might go in the first round. Lame Ducks! Okay, if you say so, but let's step back and take a look at the bigger picture. All right, little Dukes, what is Oregon Ducks football known for? Number one, the flashing uniforms. That green and white had many variations. They were ahead of the curve on this swag game. They're sponsored by Nike, whose founder is an Oregon alum. Now, pound for pound, Autzen Stadium that they play in Eugene might be the loudest football stadium in America. It holds 54 to 60,000. Not that big compared to some, but like Michigan's Big House, one reporter said that compared to Autzen Stadium, Michigan's Big House sounded like a pathetic whimper. All right, so it's very loud. They're also known for playing. You know you make me wanna take my heels up and throw my hands up and you know that song. Everybody shout, throw your hands up, shout. They play that in every game. They have a right to play it because Animal House, the movie that used that song, was actually filmed on the Oregon campus. Now, what else is Oregon known for? Well, some big name tough guys, football players mainly. We got quarterbacks Dan Fouts, Bo Nix, Marcus Mariota, but let's not forget, perhaps the most famous Oregon guy is Sam Elliott, that great butt kicker in Roadhouse. Damn, that hurts, doesn't it? A quick comparison of James Madison University and the University of Oregon. You might find this surprising, but both colleges have about 24,000 students. That's undergrad and grad. So very comparable. Now, athletic spending, that's another issue entirely. University of Oregon spends about $163 million a year on athletics. JMU, less than half of that, about 75 million. So how do we explain that? Well, it's tough because I personally have given literally tens of dollars to JMU, so I know you can't blame me for the disparity. So look elsewhere. Look at yourself. Reach into that wallet, little Dukes. Reach into that piggy bank. Give till it hurts. All right, let's talk about some JMU players to watch in this game. You know the big name stars. You've memorized the catchy nickname of JMU QB1 AB3. And by the way, he just graduated with a degree in communications and a concentration in portal marketing. Okay, we need him to hang around. We need him to be devoted to JMU for this playoff run, and we need his offense to play loose, fast, and confident. By the way, receivers, please hold on to the ball. All right, that's your job. Now, defensively, our D line needs to be stronger than ever. I hope we get Emmanuel Bush back. He's a run stopper, non-Periel. I think that's a word. Might be Latin. Oregon's got a really powerful, potent running attack. They do it, two or three of them. They got one guy who's not even the main guy. He averages 8.2 yards per carry. That's impressive. But here's one of the keys that not everybody realizes. Oregon starters are good, sure. They're blue chip, sure, but they're young. Take the quarterback, Dante Moore, I think his name is. He was a five-star guy, was at UCLA, now he's at Oregon. But he is a mere sophomore, a babe, a pup. Okay, well, maybe a duckling, all right? But JMU starters are mostly older upperclassmen. Here are a couple to watch. In the defensive backfield, I like Elijah Culp. We call him the Prophet Elijah, and he has worked miracles in many places. He's a redshirt senior, and he transferred from Charlotte. Before that, he was at Troy. Before that, he was at Austin Peay. So he's well-traveled, doing his prophesying all over the place. He's 5'11", 187 pounds of fast twitch muscle, especially in his jaws. The Prophet Elijah is always prophesying that he'll break up a pass play. He's a trash-talking, ball-hawking cornerback. We talk a lot about the miraculous conception this time of year, but what we need is a miraculous interception from the Prophet Elijah Culp. Our next player to watch is junior receiver Braden Wisłowski. Let's call him the Whiz because he is very fast. He whizzes right by defenders. In high school, the Whiz was the Pennsylvania state champ in the 100-yard dash. Maybe it was 100 meters. I don't know. Anyway, the guy is fast. He's also a wizard when it comes to pass catching. All right. He out-leaps, out-wrestles, outright beats defenders when the ball's in the air. I want to give a shout out to a new friend of the program. His name is Ed. I met Ed at the championship game tailgate. It was frigid, 27 degrees. Ed comes up. He's just full of vim and vigor. He's got a poster that he wants to make with at least part of the catchy nickname JMU QB1 AB3 on it. He was just gushing about JMU Tube. I was telling him how people are staying away in droves. Nobody's watching us anymore. He said, no, you've got to make more shows and you got to bring Bobby back. Yo, Ed. And so Ed went on to display his poster at the championship game. And Ed is just, he's super enthusiastic, and he's a bit eccentric. Ed's a kook. It's not very nice, Bobby. He's a good guy. Thanks, Ed. Okay, JMU fans, it is fearless prediction time. I want to start by saying the Oz here isn't as dumb as he looks. In fact, tests reveal I have a high level of below average intelligence. So here's my first prediction. Even though the PA guy at Outson Stadium says it never rains there, it will rain. That field will be as wet as a widow's hanky. All right, now let's get to the game. I know many people out there, many of you naysayers, think that Oregon will clobber the Dukes. Well, they could. Oregon's that good. But, you know, some of you guys are even taking it too far. You're saying that JMU shouldn't even be in this playoff. Hogwash! Exactly. You tell them, Bobby. Hogwash. Because JMU earned it. And let's say the game gets a little out of control and Oregon beats us handily. That could happen, sure. But you know what? It's not because we don't deserve to be there. Clemson deserved to be there last year when they lost by 14. Same goes for Tennessee when they made the playoff last year and they lost by 25. Or heck, Oregon was the #1 ranked team in the nation last year and they lost by 20 in the second round of last year's playoff. So lots of teams get blown out. So let me tell you something. You lickspittles and lackeys can denigrate JMU all you like, but here's the real deal. The Dukes may be underdogs, underdukes, what have you, but they're also overachievers. They're skilled, they're well coached, they're experienced. If the Dukes stay focused, play to their potential, and that ball takes a few bounces that go our way, we are capable of pulling off an upset. The Dukes are poised and plucky, ready to bag that ducky. I'm calling it JMU 35, Oregon 32. Yeah, Dukes. All right, it's about time for me to pack up, get ready for that epic cross-country flight to Oregon. So I'm going to sign off here. I'm not sure now. Once JMU wins, we'll be going to the Orange Bowl. Not sure I'll be able to get an episode out next week though, because a lot goes on during Christmas time. So this may be the last episode of the season. It has been a pleasure serving you. Thanks to all my subscribers, viewers, supporters, friends of the show. And for the last time, possibly in 2025, let's go Dukes.